Creativity in progress. Creativity in progress. Creativity in progress.
Last time on CIP.
You can't bring law into chaos.
yeah.
Doesn't work.
Like Faye Valentine is our changeling temptress, and then Spike Spiegel walks into the bar.
I can almost see him saying, but I've always liked you.
They get like whatever you just said about women.
I just rolled a 1. Tonight's guest is Scott Hamler of 4Z Marketing Solutions.
As always.
As always. I'm always rolling 1s. So
You are.
Yes.
That's what to point out real quick how it's like the beauty scale. It's like over here it's okay. It gets more and more beautiful as it goes to Nate and then to Scott and then to Ari. So
I mean, I don't even exist. I am a ghost.
you're so beautiful it transcends. We can't look at you directly. It blinds us. So thank you.
what's really hilarious is that what Ethan is seeing is the exact opposite of what the show is showing.
Touche. I am my psychosis has me seeing other things altogether. So fair enough. But speaking of beautiful, obviously the character arc is up there, provided by our wonderful guest Scott Hamler. Thank you so much. She's looking great. We're commenting earlier how she kind of reminds me a little bit of. Because the character, so in Invincible, the show Invincible, the main character, Mark's girlfriend, Amber, is voiced by Zazie Beetz. So I think they may have let that influence a little bit of her art style, essentially. So to me, Arc looks a little bit like the Zazie Beetz in a way. That's why. Mm-hmm. So anyways, getting to casting, fan casting already. For the story. All right, but when we last left off with Zazie Beetz, aka Arc. She had her Buster Sword, and she had formed a bit of an alliance of whatnot with the Killer, and they were more or less going to storm the gates, or they were going to try to figure out a way to get back. They I guess first had to find these drone parts that the Killer needed in order to make his super killer drones, and then they were going to go back and storm the castle and what have you, so she could get in there and get her revenge. So. What should be the first thing? I guess if you're in the dystopian wastelands, you want to have full advantage of that. What should they come across, or who should they come across in the dystopian wasteland as they're trying to find these parts? We can do anything. Mm-hmm. It can be monsters. They can be other people wielding Buster Swords. It can be Mad Max himself.
Yeah, I mean, I figure that a lot of people she comes across are more people similar to her situation. They live in this dystopian wasteland, and they're just people trying to survive, but they can be, adversaries. That's why she has to walk around with protection. So she's probably coming across other factions or, groups of people that are trying to take advantage of the situation and, survive in that world.
I love it. I love that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, factions and alliances, like different kinds of basically gangs and whatnot. Yeah, we got to have some of those in there. Yeah, definitely. We could even give her like somewhat of another. I think we talked about her briefly being able to maybe like she uses technology and can wield technology because her parents or mother worked in this massive like basically Apple type of facility store. Mm-hmm. So she basically may have tech that other people don't necessarily have access to, and may know how to use it better than they do. So it may seem like she's actually wielding magic against them, and that of course pisses people off. So we could have it that she is encountering what could be people that are much more really reliant on, or just a faction that they're really reliant on, like old school, the salt of the earth type of means, and it pisses them off to see her doing things that seem so counterintuitive to the way they live their life. Mm-hmm. And they might wield. I'm trying to think of some kind of weapons they might wield. They could probably have. We could actually give her a full blown. If you want to have a sword battle or some kind of a thing to actually show off her sword skills too.
Mm-hmm. Well, she doesn't, because if that's the case, then she doesn't need to use her technology. She can just use the sword.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. She doesn't have to use it. She can, but she doesn't have to use her technology or her quote unquote magic system. Yeah, I love that. Okay. One thing that
maybe there's the amount of energy that her technology uses is finite, because it's not like energy in a wasteland is abundant,
Right.
So I'm kind of thinking of it as like, kind of a cable situation where
Yes.
he doesn't always use his telekinesis. You can't use it that much, but he loves the big weapons,
Right. I love it. Because also you mentioned Cable. So one thing too that's cool about Cable is Cable literally has to hold his body together with his telekinesis, which is awesome also. So it could be one of those things where it's a limit, it's finite. So it could be that, for example, she's able to almost on some level, just the Buster Sword she has, it's so big ass and heavy that she may even have to have something help her carry it, or it may become magnetized to her hands for her to wield it. So even when she wields it on some level, it's like I can only wield this thing for a little amount of time before I can't. It's too heavy for me on some level.
What if she has cool like metal arm attachments that help her lift the weight of the sword? So it's kind of like it's not like an actual like Winter Soldier arm, but more like a sleeve type of a thing.
Yeah.
So she has that cool.
Yeah,
I've been thinking metal arm the whole time. If I haven't said
Yeah.
Speak up. Rule number one is no King Shane. Rule number two is never hold back on a metal arm. That's and rule number one and rule number two go together.
I thought it was a given. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fair. That's what
I mean, she could have like an actual metal arm. It could, the sky's the limit.
The sky's the limit. I did see, because one thing too is she survived a massive, basically a bombing of Hiroshima to her home and stuff. She could have sustained some massive injuries. It makes sense for her to have, like you said, metal, replacements. She could become part cyborg too. I'm not sure if that's canon with your character, Scott.
Yeah.
Let me say that right.
And I feel like I love that, and I love that idea, and I feel like there should be another character thrown in there. I don't know the rules if we can just throw in characters willy nilly, but
yes,
it'd be too hard to survive on your own in that type of world. So I feel like there should be this sort of this helper tinkerer type character.
Yes. Tinkerer. I was like, he said the exact words I wanted to say, and he did. He did.
Tinkerer, come on.
Yes, there has to be a tinkerer.
Guy,
Yes, there has to be a tinkerer, because also that ties into the plot really well. If there is a tinkerer or a scavenger, someone who's gone around in this world picking up parts, she could be like, well, I actually know somebody that may be able to help us find these drone parts you're looking for. They call him we got to call this tinkerer Nate. They call him the Nate.
I was thinking that this would be a female character.
I mean, Nate could be a guy.
Natalie.
Nate could be a woman.
Natalie, there we go.
Call her Nat. Nat for Natalie.
Nat, there we go.
Nat for Natalie. Yeah. So Nat. So Natalie is her tinkerer essentially. Yeah, and we can kind of save that as a bigger character they get to later on. But and also like Natalie helped Arc develop her technology, helped Arc build her body and her arms and whatever. That kind of stuff too. So yeah, I definitely see her having more of an actual prosthetic, full-blown metal arm as opposed to just a basic helper components, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
she could also have even her other parts too, because there'd be other things on her body that are augmented because of the accidents that happened to her when she was a kid, injuries. So yeah, a lot of fun there.
I mean, maybe the eye, just keep it consistent.
Ooh. Yes, eye and arm. We'll do a Reese Borderlands situation.
This is Borderlands. This literally is.
I was going to say, this is giving me a lot of Borderlands vibes. That's why I'm thinking like the weaponry and stuff like that is just like this.
Do it.
Yeah, like duct tape and grenades. I just that's what I love.
duck grenades. I love
it works for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. So we gotta have a gun faction too. So and there are people that kind of come around there asking, kind of hounding her, and they see this new dude against we talked about Nate last time. Nate, this guy that she's with, this guy that's the drone pilot. Very much seems like he's out of place, even though he's trying to seem like he's of the people. He's clearly he's not gentrified. Yeah. So he's walking around there trying to do his thing essentially, but they recognize he clearly probably has money or something, so they're trying to rob him using guns. We could have it that Arc may have maybe with her technology has the ability to reflect bullets. She either can block using her Buster Sword to block bullets, maybe even has another ability to turn on a magnetism ray or something that kind of reverses bullets when they come at her, essentially. Different ways, essentially, that she's able to fight against people that have guns and still win by herself on some level. All right, so we can have it that going against the gun faction. She's in a what do you say, Nate?
Nothing. I was just looking at what Arius was doing and going, nice. Anyway, go ahead.
That's rule number 3. Rule number 3 is Ari always does nice things. All right. So they're going against. They have to cross the I guess the primeval faction first. It's a faction that hates all technology, uses all very primitive weapons and sources, and they see her as essentially a modern day Bruja, a witch that's able to use technology in a way they don't like or approve of. Once they get past that faction, they get to the gun faction. It's a faction of people running around using guns, trying to shoot off at her and the drone pilot. Once they get past that gun faction, we gotta have, this is just for me and for my Mandalorian loving self, there's gotta be some kind of an animal or a creature that they have to the two of them have to work together to kind of get around. On some level. So what do you guys see? Yeah, what kind of creature you guys seeing?
Like you're talking like a cute Baby Yoda situation. Like
Oh no!
Grogu,
Yeah.
That would be the Grogu.
We have to have her kill Grogu.
We had to kill Grogu and have the audience hate her forever and hate us forever.
Wow.
have a slaughter Grogu with a giant Buster Sword in Jack's arm.
Wow.
Well, how about okay? So since this is like a Borderlands situation, how about we have like a mutant?
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, there's gotta be some mutants. There's gotta be some mutants. Yeah, it'd be a waste not to have
like a mutant puppy.
Yeah.
Puppy.
Yeah, it could be like a shit. I forget the name, but it's like the movie where it's like, oh, you're cute, and then it's revealed to not be cute at all.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah. Oh, what is that? Well, it's a trope.
There's a few. Evolution had that movie Evolution with Orlando Jones and David Duchovny had something like that.
There's this boss in Dark Souls. No, is it Dark Souls or Bloodborne? Where it's like, hang on, I'll look it up. But it's like you get to this part and there's this little crocodile head that's all cute that just rises above the water, and you're like, oh, it's not so bad.
It's Dark Souls 2 or 1. Yeah. It throws you off because it's like, how is there anything friendly in this world? Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Or
and then the rest of it appears and it's fucking terrifying.
Yes.
Well, and then there's the original from Monty Python and the Holy Grail with the rabbit at the end there. It's like, oh, it's just a rabbit, and then it's just like, rah, and it just like kills like 1,000 men. It's
up there with Omni-Man at the end of Invincible, episode 1. Yeah. Okay. So definitely. I like the idea of it being deceptive. It's seemingly being kind of cute and cuddly, and having because again, our drone pilot, this world is all unknown to him. So he's like, oh, look at this cute and cuddly creature. And he pretty much goes over there to it. And she's like, no, you idiot. And of course, it emerges. It's like it's meant to be bait to look cute. Once you come over there to it, it lures you in and turns into something much worse.
It's like a land anglerfish. That's what it is.
Yeah. Finding Nemo. Yeah. So we'll call it the land angler fish. But so you saw
the langler
fish. A langler fish. We got there. It took us a while, but we got there. We're not leaving. So it's I guess it's if it has like a puppy dog's like head or something, seems like a puppy dog.
Yeah, I'm picturing like a puppy, but like that cat and Captain Marvel. That is
oh yeah,
it has tentacles.
Like it opens his mouth and it's like jaw opens completely.
Florkin.
And like the Florkin.
The Florkin.
The Florkin, yes. Yeah, that's like comic books too. Yeah. That's perfect. So our dumbass drone pilot walks over there like an idiot, with all kinds of little, with his hand open and a little treat for the cute little cuddly creature. It could be while Ark is sharpening her sword or checking her gear like a badass would do. And of course, so for a moment, she's not babysitting the drone pilot, essentially. And while she takes her eye off him, he goes over there doing that thing, and she's like, no. And of course, it emerges, essentially. So it could be that if it emerges, it may even go full-blown, like, you remember in Lord of the Rings, the first one, Fellowship of the Ring, there's a part where this like they're trying to get in that door to get into more. Yeah, and basically it's like a kraken of sorts. Pretty much pulls up Frodo at first, and they have to get him away from that. So it may be something like that where this creature essentially has the drone pilot actually officially up. It pretty much has him captured or taken, and she has to first battle it to get get him back first, and then they can they can work together on some level. Okay, I'm trying to think of what if you were to fight. Remember, we're writing this now, fresh. If you were Arc and you had technology, and you had a Buster Sword, what would you do? What would you use to try and combat a tentacle monster first?
Oh, tentacles, you just
chop
go
the
to the sword.
tentacle.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Well, I guess it is. This is a big
Hammer,
this
nail.
Is a big. I of course. I set myself up. I set myself up for that one. I set myself up. But we can spice it up some too. It can have it that she can't. Maybe the sword gets kind of knocked out of her hand, so she can't use it right away.
Or even make it be like a Hydra situation where like every time, like not necessarily that it'll like cut off one, two, come back, but maybe have it be like every time she cuts off one, another one just kind of pops up out of the whatever.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, I love that.
I have an idea. Okay, so the first she does the sword thing and that's not working. But then she's like, all right, well now I have to resort to my arms. And I'd love to have her like a Genos from One Punch Man thing where she can just where she can like flamethrow with her arms.
Ooh.
Sure.
Because that would be one way to stop the heads from or the tentacles from
solder the necks. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we can actually set that up earlier where we see her actually working on all her gear and stuff, and she actually has like a little flame. It seems like a backpack or some kind, like a flame pack. And she may live, like you said before, Nate, the idea is everything she has is limited. There's not a limited amount of power or limited amount of resources, limited amount of punches she has to throw. So yeah, we can do that. So it could be something where it's a system where she does use her sword to chop to hit one of the tentacles or what have you to free the drone pilot. Then the drone pilot from a distance is able to grab the sword or something to kind of help start hitting other parts. And while he's doing that, she's standing there right close enough to kind of mix around and do fire punches on any part that's open and cauterize it essentially. And that's kind of how they tag team take down this.
He can't grab her sword though.
No, that's right. Yeah, so that's right.
But you can grab something.
I would love to have like a scene where he tries, or it's like
Like a Mjolnir situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yes. Or even if he tries to pick it up with one of his like, because the thing is, oh yeah, you're right. He can't reveal yet that he's a drone pilot, so he can't use the drones in a fight. That would show her who he is. So yeah, he's just using his own old school kind of technology too, or something.
Well, maybe we also can do a thing where, because you're held up, 3 stories in the air by a tentacle. You're going to do a cost benefit analysis and go, yeah, if they find out I'm a drone, then I still might live. If I stay up here, I'm going to die. So, let me, so he goes to try to get the drone and it falls out of his hands. And then, and then he has to try to go find it. And then maybe there's a way he can use one of his drones to like low key do it, like have it like hover like below the trees or something and like pop it with a missile or something, something like that.
No, I love
also,
that.
this could be, that could just start the question of like, why do you have this? How do you know how to do this?
Exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, because we have to get that ball rolling for her where she starts suspecting him in a different way too. Yeah, further suspects him, I guess. Perfect. Sure. Yeah, so I love what you said, Scott, that she definitely, or the drone pilot tries to, did he have a name? I can't remember what his name was, but he tries to pick up the Mjolnir Buster Sword. And he's like, holy shit, this thing is crazy heavy. And I don't work out at all. It's not going to happen right away.
We could just have it be like this lampshade moment where it's like, how do you do this? This is not possible.
Right. And keep their camera on there one shot for a while. Just have them freaking out on there for a long time. A long take. Yeah, I love that. And then so like you said, Nate, he does, as he pretty much like, I have no other choice. I got to at least try to do something. He kind of sneaks out one drone or whatnot to kind of back her up. And it may be that it actually saves her life. He uses that drone that fires off a missile or something that's getting ready to try and hit her. And when that happens, it may be that when he uses the drone and it fires a missile, it hits a part and she sees that it cauterizes a wound essentially, and it's not going back. And she's like, "Oh, that's it. It's fire or something." And she pulls out her fire gauntlets, like Kratos, and starts going crazy.
Pulls out the chains of chaos.
Yeah, chains of chaos. Yeah, it starts going crazy on him. And then after they do defeat the Langolier puppy, and then she may actually pick up the drone and she's like, "How do you have this?" or "What is this?" or something like that. And he may have to I guess, talk his way out of her knowing exactly who he is right off the bat. We can't, or maybe even she might even ask, but we have to at least plant the seed that the gears are turning already for her at least, because we still want them to get to the Tinkerer together as a team of sorts, and then of course for the drone pilot to find his parts, and of course for him to lead, because I guess that's it. She knows that if she blows the whistle too early, he won't take her to this big tech company, which she needs to go to still. So she might start suspecting, but doesn't say anything out loud necessarily.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now we've had our big epic battle with the Langolier puppy. They do make it their way to the Tinkerer. Now, what is our Tinkerer, Natalie? What is she like? Is she basically just like Nate with less facial hair?
I feel like she's older for sure. Got to be somewhat a wise type figure. Somebody that's been around this world and has learned a few things that she can drop some knowledge down to Ark, and as well as obviously a very tech savvy person. Like you said, probably worked for the same company once upon a time.
I did not say that. I like that. I didn't think about that though.
Yeah, I like that.
I think that's a good move. And maybe that's something that isn't fully even revealed either. Like from the offset, maybe that's something that's slowly kind of leaked to Ark, or maybe that's another reveal later on in the story where it's like, oh yeah, I used to be one of these people, and before I learned better.
Right. Yeah. And I guess that's part of why because part of it, as we said last week, the idea is that a big arc for Ark is whether or not she can forgive the person who obviously murdered her family unintentionally, but still did it. Can she have him have a sword to his throat and not cut it? So it may be that she's able to, from having this friendship with the Tinker, who's become like essentially her guardian and mentor and everything else, and only friend really, she may be able to start seeing the humanity behind the drone pilot and even the humanity behind the company as a whole. So yeah, that's a good setup there, Scott. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, kind of like an Uncle, like Iroh character from
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Of course, you would love it.
You just heard the sound you heard was every nerd just suddenly getting an erection for no reason. What happened? Yes, absolutely. Everybody loves Iroh. How can you not love Iroh? Yeah, so definitely
she's full of revenge. She's full of revenge and anger and hate, but she's trying to, kind of help her navigate those things, and maybe she gets to the moment. Maybe gets to the moment where she wants to kill the person, but then flashback to that great conversation, that great pearls of wisdoms drop down from Nat, and second guesses, like doesn't want to actually go through with it.
No, absolutely.
Yes.
But so what we could do too, I love that. I love everything you just said, Scott, and you're very handsome. So what if we have it where it's one thing where once they do get back to the Tinker, and I also can see Ark as having somewhat of she's already scarred, disfigured a bit from the bombing. She could be somewhat like a Zuko type personality, not full blown Zuko, but somewhat like Zuko.
Never go full Zuko.
Yeah.
Never go full
never go full Zuko. Never go full Zuko.
Okay. Well, to be fair, full Zuko results in a very great character arc, but we also don't. We have limited time.
We have limited time. We can't afford Dr.
Can't go
Bosco.
full Zuko.
No, we can't go full Zuko. But we can say something, Nate.
Well, I had a thought that so they get to the Tinkerer, and the Tinkerer spots the guy immediately, and she can tell right off.
Yes.
She's like, you're of that company. Like she can tell, and maybe even she knows him. Like maybe even she knows just because maybe she was like an upper level person, and so she is aware, and like maybe she worked in HR. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she had access to this person in some way, so she recognizes him, and she also knows that he is the one who destroyed Ark's town, and so she kind of keeps it to herself because she's like,
Yes.
okay, this, and I think that would be a really interesting, and she takes him aside and she's like, all right, what's going on? Like, why are you here, and why? Give me a reason not to kill you. You know,
it would have to be, yeah, exactly. She would have to do it aside, away from Ark, because obviously Ark would, if Ark found out, she'd just go and murder her right there on the spot. Yeah, we had to have it away. It'd be a chat between the two of them, and pretty much you could have it definitely, like you said, Nate. As soon as he walks in, maybe there's like a tattoo or something, a way that she recognizes that he is officially of the company, or maybe his haircut, whatever.
I've got not necessarily in the way she can identify him, but I get a vision of like when they show up at her place and she's like, I'm kind of picturing her like I don't, in my mind, I'm kind of picturing her as almost like a Melissa McCarthy type, but like older and matronly but also techie, but also, and she sees him and she's like, oh, sweetie, it's good to see you. And she sees the other guy and she keeps her tone, she keeps her facade. And she goes, oh, honey, I need some help with some things out back. Can you go do that real quick? And me and him will get acquainted. What was your name again, sweetheart? And then, she walks out and then she's continuing to do it. She goes, okay, give me one good reason why I shouldn't blow your head off right now, kind of thing.
Well, even before that, it'd be funny if she says something kind of like a little test that he fails. If she's like, so how is something such as, she refers to something that at the company that only someone that works there would know. And she does it so sweetly and so offhandedly that he lowers his guard and admits it. He gets, how is Brian's shoes? Oh, Brian doesn't work there anymore. Brian, something like that. He says, what? Kind of something simple.
The only reason I'm pushing back on that is that that just seems a little too forced, in my opinion. I think it should be that like, and because I think it establishes. Yeah, I think it establishes her knowledge and wisdom right off. If she's like just on site, she knows who this guy is, and she's like,
it's like a Mags character from Justified. If you've seen that show.
I have not. Okay, but I like that. Yeah, I like the idea that she is definitely in charge of the room. She's smart when there. She gets it right off the bat. Yes, I like the idea that the turn where she goes from being like sweet as as Uncle Iroh at the end of season 3 to full blown like I can kill you. Why should I do it? Her voice gets very, very serious. And also, it's in a way too. Once this happens, we do see the drone pilot for the first time really kind of being his real, true self as far as like actually like admitting on some of like I'm. Because this is the first time he's really been confronted about what he is by someone that knows what he is, and he's even though he's been even though he's been running with Ark for so long, this is the first time Ark never confronted him. Yeah, and he may have started to feel regret, and may have actually seen this role what's become. He may start feeling those things, but now someone's actually saying to him, challenging him, like you're a dirty bastard. This is your fault on some level. Yeah, you got to say for yourself, kind of thing. Yeah.
I almost could see like the fallout, like when she, she's doing her, why shouldn't I take you out right now? And he goes for his controller, and she goes, oh, sweetie. Don't do that. Your drones won't work here. I've got a whatever ba thing that just completely disabled them. You see, there's one of them laying over there, right there. It can't come near us. Why shouldn't I kill you? Just basically establish I'm in complete control. You have nothing. And, and then that's when he just kind of lets his guard down. He's like, all right, I guess here's the situation.
It would be funny if he went full coward mode and try to do one last attack against her or something, but he's found out, and of course it's shut down immediately. And he's like, that'd be fun. I love that. I love that idea. So now, I guess to answer your question though, what could he possibly say or do to convince her not to kill him, and more importantly, to help him? Because remember, he came there looking for parts that she most likely will. I mean, we're going to have it that she actually does have these parts he's looking for. What could he say or do to convince her not to, rat him out?
He could say that he's trying to take down the company, and then she's like, "Okay, game on. Like if you're serious about that, I want to help you do that. So I'm not going to take you out." But I'm going to be watching you to make sure you're not bullshitting me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, I mean, he arrived with Ark, right? And that itself in it itself is kind of like, okay, so I could have killed this girl, but I didn't because
Mhm.
I'm growing a heart and learning how humanity works. So
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say that I think it would be interesting if he basically he hits her with like on a 1-2 thing where he's basically like, look, and maybe this can be the point in the story where he kind of fully accepts to himself that he is separating himself from the company. He is now switched sides officially, and he's like, yes, I want to take this company down. This is because I've seen what the company's been responsible for and what I'm responsible for, and I want to fix it. And then also he kind of throws in, and I've been hanging out with Ark for a while, and she's safe, and I've actually saved her ass a couple of times, and she saved mine. So
I push back against that a little bit only because I want to save that idea, that revelation for the end. So he does start feeling that way. That is in there, but it's not quite there just yet. He doesn't know if he's reached that point already. It's a little too quick.
Maybe it could be that he's revealing it to save his ass. Like he's saying
he may be kind of like saying these things, like trying to cover himself, but it's like she could say bullshit, and it could be like he's like, well, what do you want me to say? I don't. And he could say,
and then that's where he jumps on the Ark bit. Like
yes,
where?
Say, well, yes, exactly. Because pretty much that's what obviously Mama Aro cares the most about. She's like, look, I don't give a damn about anything else out here, but she is family to me. Why should I trust you around her? And he's pretty much like, she saved my, like you said, she saved my life more times I can count. I couldn't even make it. He wouldn't be here without her. She's the last person I betray. And pretty much Mama Aro is like, oh, okay, you have, whether you have feelings for her or whether you just care about her as a friend, whatever it is, it becomes clear that she wouldn't betray the drone pilot wouldn't betray Ark, and that's enough for her to say, okay.
Yeah, I think.
What are your intentions with Ark?
Yeah. Right. Yes.
Yeah. I think maybe instead of it being like what I'd said originally, which was like, this is him fully going, yes, I will go against the company. Maybe it's the first step in the idea where he says it to save his ass, but then he also kind of goes, wait, did I kind of mean that? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I still don't know yet.
Yeah,
you know.
I like that.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah, exactly. Because that's
Like a fake it till you make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So, and then obviously as Ark comes back down from downstairs or from the bathroom wherever she was, she pretty much the Mama Aro puts on the kind of, oh, okay, how are you? Kind of puts back on the idea they weren't fighting. Makes it clear, doesn't ever tip her hand essentially to that. But there could be a scene too where we do have Mama Aro talking to Ark a little bit about asking her essentially what is she planning on doing, because we haven't at this point we don't necessarily know what Ark's heart is when she goes into the building. Will she have the heart to be a stone cold killer and just kill everyone she sees? Will she be able to have some restraint? What does she actually want? What is the full extent of her revenge? So it maybe have a little conversation where she's asking her like, what do you want? And she may kind of tip her. I mean, she may kind of hint at the idea of what would you do now if you actually met someone that was involved in this? Would you just cut their head off? What would you kind of essentially that then kind of figure out, trying to feel her out for that?
Oh, I think that would be cool. Like maybe if they're having like a meal or something, and like it's the classic, like, you know, it's the classic scene of like the college kid coming home and it's like, are you still doing that artist thing? You know, like, but instead of artist, it's revenge and destroying a company.
It's bloody murders. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, yes, I need to take him down. And as Nat is sitting down, she says, well, what would you do if one of those killers was sitting right here? And she looks right at the other guy.
Right.
And he just like, and she goes,
He freezes.
yeah. And she's like, I'd cleave him in half. And he's like,
Right. Yeah. Yes.
I need to go to the bathroom.
Exactly. But she makes it. What if you do when I'm sitting right here and she's already holding her dinner knife, her steak knife for dinner? She just stabs the table or something.
Yeah.
Makes it clear because she is part Zuko. She's part Zuko. So yeah, it's yeah. I love that. I love that scenario where she is kind of, and of course that makes our boy the drone pilot freeze up that much more. Where he's like, never mind, I refuse to reveal it till the very. I want to reveal
Just
that.
kidding.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I just like the idea of this character, of this Tinkerer character, just like even though she's willing to let this guy hang on, she just constantly fucks with him. She's just constantly like you know, like this is your payment.
Right.
You know?
Right. And you mentioned one thing earlier too. I'm not sure if it was Nate or Scott, but the idea that I think it was Scott, that she was also of this, Apple company run by Oscar Isaac. So it's kind of like he may call her out on it too. If she obviously recognizes him, that means she was of that company. And so it's kind of like he might say, well, you can't put yourself on too much of a pedestal. Your hands are just as dirty as mine. She might say, well, no, I left that company. It's kind of like, I'm trying to own up to what I've done.
The difference between you and me is that I chose to leave.
Right.
Yes. And she might
Maybe
call
that's
out
why
and
she
say,
doesn't tell Ark immediately either, because she doesn't want Ark to know her full past in the moment.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I kind of think it would be interesting if they actually knew each other from those days, but like it being a thing where like he was just he was the new up and comer, IT/drone murderer. Yeah, like the IT/drone murderer. And she was like the kind of older, but the company at that point was just starting to get straight up evil, and it was when it started getting evil, and she realized that's when she jumps ship.
Yeah.
And so he sees her, he realizes she's there, and then there's this whole back and forth. Yeah, I like that.
I think that, and also it does set up the idea, plants the idea of where she can say to him, like, what would you do? Will you ever own up to what you've done? I'm not going to tell her what you've done, but it is your choice, essentially, kind of setting it up that he could do that later on. But, okay, cool. So now we're moving in pretty much into Act 3, because now is when they've had their dinner, they've used their steak knives and whatnot. Ark's gotten all her gear, and she's gotten. I mean, this is pretty much the real storming of the castle together. They basically know they have to do this, and Mama Iroh has provided the drone pilot with some tech or gear as well, so he can do his thing. Now the actual storming of the castle, do we want this to be because the thing is he does work there. Do we want it to be where does it need to be a clandestine kind of a spy op? Could it be?
I want so badly for a heist thing, which is not really a heist, but like I want that whole vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, I had mentioned last week about how like part of the reason why he's willing to do this is because like this company is a type of company where like you mess up once, like the way you're fired is you're killed. And because of him trying to get these drones and it taking him so long, it basically has put him on the termination list, the real termination list. And so he can't just like use his ID card, but maybe that's kind of what he does. Like he uses it to get in because he knows it'll work one last time, but it'll trip the thing. And then they have to,
Yeah, he uses it and he acts like he doesn't know what's going to happen, but he does. So he's like using himself as bait.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yes. Yes. I like that too. He uses it knowing that it pretty much will set off everybody, because it's meant to be almost like a selfless sacrifice in a way too. So yes.
So he's called to, I don't know, whoever quote unquote fires people office to get fired. While Ark does the sneaky sneak.
Yeah.
Well, Ark does sneaky sneak. She's going through the vents. She's going whatever it has to take. Yeah.
And then she's doing a sneaky sneak through the building, and then there's maybe this big dramatic scene. So it's like cuts between Ark going around and doing her thing, which is whatever, and then with him in that meeting with the like
Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, like the them, like, okay, so you're going to be terminated, and we have to do this special, and he gets on his Dexter apron and goes about his business, and he's about to kill him, and then right as he's about to kill him, one of the drones just blasts the room, and because he had one of the drones floating outside the building, and he blasts the room, and then that's a trigger for the end game of the heist.
It starts it off. I love a lot of that. There's one small slight nuance you have to consider.
We're keeping the Dexter apron. I'm sorry.
No, obviously, we've never given a Dexter apron ever. We've got to put plastic sheets down. But the idea too is that if there was a timetable, essentially he had to get back, because the whole point is he left to get these parts to do this job. He wouldn't have come back to get killed. He came back believing he could at least still do this job. So on his mind, it may have been that he already decided, I am deliberately want to get caught And when Oscar Isaac says, "Hey man, so can you do the job?" And that's pretty much we could have it where our drone pilot then tells him off. Essentially says, "You do all this type of stuff. You made me a mass. You made me a mass murderer." He pretty much he confronts him. He talks it down to this guy, and that's essentially when Ark finds out exactly who he is.
Yeah.
But Ark's maybe an event or something is hearing what happened, and Ark definitively knows who he is from that, essentially.
Oh yeah, like maybe she takes out like that, like she's in the security room and she's just taken out all the security guides.
Yes.
And then she sees it, and maybe that's it, and maybe we can even kind of like both do both things where they bring him in. Can you do the job? He tells him off, and then that's when the Dexter apron comes in, and then they take him to the termination room. So it kind of prolongs it a little bit, and then you've got a little bit of time of Ark running around, and you're thinking, okay, now this guy, who I don't know, have we come up with a name with this guy?
We still haven't. Yeah, we still.
Yeah, this guy is now on her shit list too.
Yeah. Yeah,
the intern,
and that's the idea too. Is that once she's in, because we see her is we see Ark observing this from the security monitors, watching him confess all these things, and she figures out exactly who he is and what he's done. And we don't know what she intends to do, but because she pretty much sees this happening, we do see her going through all the scaffolding and everything else, trying to get to the room, trying to get there. And it may be that because Oscar Isaac is going with the drone pilot to kill him in this Dexter room, essentially, she is pursuing. She's kidnapped all the security to get to this room. We don't know if her intentions are to get down there to kill both of them or just to try and protect them or what it is. And like you said before, Nate, once they're down there in the Dexter room, he's pretty much like, "Oh, by the way, those weren't all the drones that I had." And that's because the ambush where the other drone comes in there, and then Ark busts in there using her technology, her Jax arms, what have you. And the two of them do manage to take down all the security, all the people around them, and it's left just with Oscar Isaac. And Oscar Isaac saying pretty much, "You can't kill me. I'm bigger than God." And she, of course, kills him, or whatever that plays out. But the real big deal confrontation finally is after everyone else is gone, and it's just Ark and the drone pilot. The drone pilot's pretty much just sitting there like, "I'm sorry." He doesn't try to make any excuses. Doesn't try to beg for his life. He's just like, I'm sorry, it's me." And it's clear he knows that she knows, and they both know they know each other, and that's the moment. So Scott, what do you want? Do you want her to forgive him, or even if she doesn't forgive him, do you want her to let him live? How do you see this playing out?
Well, yeah, I mean, she can't kill the guy. I think he like he doesn't beg, he doesn't plead his case, but she is kind of replaying everything in her mind, the conversations with and the interactions with Guy, with him, as well as Auntie Iroh as well. And in that moment, she's like, I'm not going to take it to this level. And so she stops at the last point, Buster Swords at the neck or whatever, but then just like stops it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because while he was getting to know her as a person, she was getting to know him as a person.
Yes. And can we have it? Because I don't know about y'all, but I've been envisioning that the controller for his drones was the Nintendo Power Glove, and I have it that in my mind I have it that when they've essentially won and they're standing there among the bodies, and he just turns and the first thing he does before he says anything is he takes the glove off and lets it drop as kind of like I'm unarmed.
Fight you.
I'm not going to fight you.
Literally, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm literally
I love it.
unhanded.
Yeah.
I'm unhanded. Yeah, I love that. That's a great thing. And it has to definitely be, he's pretty much, I do want the idea of him being almost on his knees in front of her and her like standing over him with the sword, and she's covered in blood and she's like breathing heavy. And like you said, Scott, she's having memories of watching her family get killed and blown up and blown to pieces, killed, and she has memories of Uncle Iroh, Mama Iroh talking to her. She has memories of her and the drone pilot outside, laughing about certain things they were fighting against, the angling fish dog. All these memories are flashing through her mind, and so it's not a quick or easy thing for her to decide. And so she does just like he did. She pretty much just puts her sword down, essentially. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I
Love
that
it.
too. It's great.
But the Oscar Isaac character does die.
Oh, he has to. he very much dies.
There's no question.
He very much dies. I see him like essentially some of the drones fly in there, like pin him to the wall. When she's pinned to the wall, he's like trying to say a few things, and she just cuts his head off clean or something like that. It's very. He does.
So what if it's like, okay, so what if it's like the final climax and Oscar Isaac is trying to manipulate her into killing the killer? And so they're all in the same room, and like he's pinned to the wall with drones, and she's standing over the killer with her sword to his neck, and like Oscar Isaac just keeps talking, and it's like sounds all very attractive, and it's all his fault really, and blah blah blah, and then she turns it on him and like swings around and chops his head off or something.
Right. She raises the sword and cuts his head off.
And then she says, "He just wouldn't shut up." And then the drone killer guy goes, "I know. Monthly meetings sucked with that guy."
I mean,
we don't have to do this.
Yeah,
we can workshop it.
You have to. It's we'll fix it in post. We'll fix it all in post. But yeah, I love that idea. I love her actually literally having the sword rear behind her, and then she swings and it's the other guy. Perfect. Yeah, that's great.
Awesome.
So real quick, there's two slight pieces of dessert. First and foremost, Scott, as the official showrunner, did you have an official title that you wanted to go with this piece?
Oh, for the overall title. What do we played around with something, right? Wasn't it like Revenge is Fun or something?
Yeah,
like
Revenge
that?
is Fun was the one.
Fun originally. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm liking that, but I'm open to any other thoughts.
Okay, I mean, you can leave that.
I like that because one thing I was thinking, and I realize this is cliche and cheesy, but I think one of the things that could be from the Mama Iroh character is having her constantly say, like, one of her like things is revenge is destruction. Revenge is destruction. And that's one of the things she, that Ark hears as she's about to, take out the killer is revenge is destruction. And then she also sees all the bodies around her and everything, and she's like, ew.
Yes, because it may have been she's up for so long that it'll be fun. She may have thought this would be fun, or every time she kills somebody in the wastelands, the borderlands, she's like, I'm enjoying this or whatnot. Or she may have even asked her, "Are you enjoying this?" She's like, "Of course I am. Why wouldn't I?" She's in denial of it, but I like that. Yeah. I like
Maybe
that.
when she smiles after a few of the kills, just kind of like a smirk,
Yeah.
Like, but then the smile fades. It gets
It's what she wants to believe. She wants to believe.
Right.
It's the lie. It's the lie she chooses to believe. It's not. It's my Iroh told her. Again, it's very Zuko and Iroh, where the Zuko believed a lot of lies too, and then finally, I know. I already cried.
He's just such a good character.
And Scott pours one out for Dante Bosco. But here's the favorite part of my week is being able to see what Ari has drawn and actually describe it for all those who are listening. So let me bring it up here right quick. Oh, look at her. Sweet beauty. I love it. Okay. So as I described earlier, she does look essentially like a early 20-ish Zazie Beetz. She has an amazing puffs haircut. I love her Buster sword, her jacket. I love is it like a Matrix-esque type of jacket, Ari?
I guess. I mean, I was just kind of like, oh, this is cool, but it's like the top half, so I've absolutely not considered what it looks like on the bottom half, or really anything else about it. So
I love it. It's
you could have a cool duster, in like kind of a dystopian world. You can hide your stuff in it, your gadgets and whatnot. They don't know what's happening under there.
Right. No, I love that. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening under there. I love that.
I don't know the style down below, but I can tell you I want one, but I don't think it'll fit me.
No, you get it custom.
I'll get it custom.
Taylor. You can't be a badass with the store-bought things, please.
They have great tailors in dystopian universes. Like,
you'd be surprised,
right?
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, that's the first thing they get. It's a Taylor's then water. So,
yes, Taylor's then water.
First, look cool. Second, survive.
Yes.
So if you have to die, at least die looking good.
This is the
and
way.
Also I love
another title.
Yeah.
Die
looking
looking
good.
cool. Yeah, so I'm gonna put that right now. So caption. let's
It's
see
like
here.
the fifth sequel to Die Hard.
What should have been. What should have been. All right. So revenge is fun. Die looking good.
Die looking good. Oh, that's amazing.
I love the cyborg eye. That's
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
That cyborg eyes.
Oh,
That-
thank you.
That was the thing that when I was like, oh, and you were like, Nathan, you had something to say, and I was like, no, I just saw the eye and was like, that's amazing. Anyway,
Yeah. No, I love it. I love that eye.
Yeah.
It's just
Cyborg eyes are the coolest.
mm-hmm.
it
They
is cool.
are. Everybody should
Yeah.
have one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I concur.
All right.
So this is
Oh, good.
no.
Okay. I was just going to ask if anybody had anything to plug, talk about anything before we wrap this puppy up.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, just thanks for letting me join, guys. This was a blast. I love forming this story and playing around with it, and then seeing this character come to life. It's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes,
Yes,
definitely.
that's the biggest thing. Thanks for joining us, man. We love having you on. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure.
This is a long time in the works, but yeah, it was definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
Mhm.
And as Ari knows, this character is obviously inspired by Scott's very own. So we will do our best to make sure she sees this. We'll try to keep her away from swords, but
She's already got one.
she already has one.
Oh, she already has one. All right.
Too late.
Teach them young, learn them young. You know.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Fair.
Hey,
Fair.
fencing's a good
Past
sport.
year's gone. You got to prepare these kids.
Yeah, we gotta pair them, keep them to defend themselves against drones. Oh, awesome. Real quick announcement this weekend, if you are in the California area, Los Angeles area, I have a signing at Carson at Black Star Collectibles. Black Star Collectibles, a black run and owned comic book shop. Come on out there. You can meet me. And one of our guests that's been on this show before, Eric Prochnow, will be out there with me too.
Nice.
And so yeah,
Cool.
you can have me put my money where my mouth is and see if I can actually can tell a story in a written form.
Yes, I have. Well, I can prove that he has. I have a bunch of his books right here. So be sure to go on to echelongraphicnovels.com or the CiPnetwork.com and buy these.
Yes.
So sorry, I hijacked. And then also go
No, it's fine.
to the Carson. Was it you said Carson City Black Star Comics? You said.
Yes, Carson City. It's in Carson. Black Star Collectibles.
Awesome.
It's a comic book shop, massive comic book shop. Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
I'm
Well,
flying over there this weekend.
flying over.
Yeah. And again, Scott was the original voice of Ash, so I gotta get a tape recorder of him. Put the tape recorder of his voice playing over and over again to see in there.
I will be hitchhiking. So it's cross country. It's a bit of a long way. Anyway, well, thank you so much, Scott, again for joining us. It was a blast. We had a great time. And thank you all for watching us here live. And be sure to check us out on YouTube. It's the CIP Network on YouTube. We also are on Twitch. Check out our podcasts. We put this out as a podcast. We have a bunch of other shows as well. So be sure to check all of those out. You can also buy Ethan's comics on thecipnetwork.com or echelongnovels.com. And yeah, I think that's about it. So
Scott, your company want to plug your?
Oh yeah.
company?
Do you want to plug anything?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, 4Z Marketing is my business. So check me out.
You want to spell it real quick?
FOREZEE Marketing,
Nice.
and Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff.
Yes.
Cool.
If you are in the 21st century, he's the man to help you seem like you are.
Good man.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you again, everybody, for joining us, and I hope y'all have a wonderful day.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.
Once upon a time, our storytellers gather, bringing with them only a set of dice, a scroll of genre.